stage, we should have our computer now booted up. And next stage we need to do is ensure we have Steam installed on our computer, which we should have in my case. So I'll just open up Steam and wait for this to load itself up as quick as possible, thank you. You will also need to ensure you have SteamVR installed. If you need to get that, you just go to Library Tools and search for SteamVR in the Tools section and make sure that is installed. And once your computer is restarted, you can then click and you should have this VR icon apparent. So if I was to now click on this SteamVR button up here in the top of our Steam launcher, it should launch up a new window. There we go. Which should bring up basically all the connections that are being currently detected. If they're green, they are ready. The headset is currently not tracking because it's not currently being seen by the units, but that's not a problem. We'll sort that out in a second. That's probably just because I've got it lying on the floor in a very awkward position. Also, one of my controllers is currently on charge, so that's why that's not being seen. So if I just turn that back on, like so, it should now be picked up by the sensor, which it is being. And next step I need to do is go to this drop down on the SteamVR, and I want to run room setup. And this should now launch up the room setup application. So we have two options available to us, which is room scale and standing only. Standing only does not track your movement around the space, so we'll be using room scale today. We've also made sure that our play area is cleared of any obstructions beforehand. So I click on the room scale button. Again, this does walk you through it with some quite fun portal animations. So this is quite self-explanatory if you do get lost. Again, it clarifies the play area space should be roughly 2 by 1.5 meters, so roughly 2 by 2. Next, we need to make sure that the controls are visible to the base stations, which again, like I said earlier, one of them is currently on charge, so make sure that's now detected. And the headset should be detected too, which it is doing so now. It's gone green on the actual power icon. One of the controls is not visible. Let's just see what that is. Sometimes it's a case of holding them both up, get them to be detected, sort of thing. Then we should be able to click next. Now we want to locate our monitor, so we pick up one of the controllers, doesn't matter which one, and we point it towards our screen, holding the back trigger until the bar fills up. Then we go back to our computer screen again. We click next. Calibrate the floor, so we make sure both controllers are flat to the floor. Then we click the calibrate floor button. And then next. And now it's to measure our space, so we will grab one of our controllers again. And the way you measure and create your play area is quite simple. Again, with the back trigger, we simply go to the furthest corner of our square and we hold the trigger. You should feel a slight vibration on the controller as you do this, and you just simply keep your finger on it, walk around the play space, making sure that it's large enough that it's not getting in the way of any potential obstacles, and then release when finished. And then you go back to your computer screen, click next, and if it's suitable, a green box should appear with the arrow indicating the direction that you should be by default facing. Then you click next, and now we are successfully set up. Now, if you run into any potential issues, the issues that you may run into are as follows. Your controller may lose pairing. If this is the case, we simply keep our fingers on both of these buttons here, and the blue light should start flashing on here. Then we go to our computer. We right click on the controller which is now greyed out, press pair controller, and it should now be redetected, and once redetected it should go green. If that doesn't work, you can plug it in with a micro USB into your computer and then press pair controller. That is sometimes a fix as well. So that's one thing you may run into. Another potential issue is where the headset itself refuses to go green and is not tracking at all. If that is the case, sometimes just restarting your computer is the answer. Or it could be that you've plugged your USB connection into the wrong type of USB port. If you try and plug it into a USB 1 connection, for example, it will not be fast enough for the data transfer to happen, therefore it will not work. So it needs to be at least USB 2 or above. That is sometimes just switching it around is the answer, and again restart after every time you do any of these little fixes to ensure that the drivers and the processors are running correctly. In my play space, you may notice I have essentially put down a rug. This rug is for a tangible feeling on my feet, so I know where my boundaries are roughly. I've tried to ensure that they're trying to be within a reasonable level where I won't necessarily reach out and smash a light bulb or something, which is why I've took the light shade off. And always be aware of your surroundings. It is your responsibility to ensure that the user does not hurt themselves or the equipment. So therefore I do recommend that you have one person watching and checking for the safety of the actual other person using it. So it's ideally you need 2 people. You should not necessarily try this on your own unless you're 100% familiar and secure with the environment that you're in and you know nobody's going to walk into your space or there's no potential risk of injuring yourself. Please make sure that tripods, if you are using tripods, are stable and secure because these lighthouses are made of glass. And if I do get a crack on them, it does affect the performance of the tracking. Every part of the Vive setup is very expensive to replace, with some parts being roughly £120 to £150 each. So it's very hard to replace anything. Hello, a little amendment to this video. There is also things known as Vive trackers. The way to think of these is if you think of these as the top of your Steam controller. Essentially it's detected by the lighthouses in the same way, where the infrared light bounces off these sensors on the unit. But the difference is with these you can have up to 20 Vive trackers per a Vive setup, and these can be affixed to various devices with the tripod mount on the bottom. To turn these on, you simply press the button as so, and the similar tracking enable system works as the controllers, but you've got no other inputs on these devices. Where these come in useful is you can have up to 20 of these per Vive setup, and these can be attached to, let's say, a baseball bat or a camera or a person, and then once that object is in the scene, it can be, you've got the physical tangible feeling of the object alongside the trackability of the controllers. Let's say. So let's say I was to have 12 of these attached to my body. I could actually track my entire body's motion and then use that data to animate characters in real time. So this is where the Vive trackers are useful. These are £100 each and they are available this year. I believe you can buy them now, but I'm not 100% sure if they're available on the consumer store yet. But these are great little tools to have. And they are quite cool. However, I will say these are not currently supported actively in Unreal 4. You have to kind of do a weird workaround, which I'll go through in the video guides. However, that may change by September time of this year as they become more readily available. So this has been my setup Vive video series. I will be doing an Unreal 4 VR development series next. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.